Hey guys, welcome back to Puffin Lauda, and welcome back to Café Enchanté. Horrific things were happening last episode. It was on a light note in the beginning, then Asmodeus became very sexist, and nobody likes a sexist person, so Misyr punched him into the wall, and there was a whole fight scene, and then this dude from the fissure shows up and calls Misyr a liar, does something where Misyr's body is now transformed into something horrific, and now we're in somebody else's perspective, and I have no idea. Well, let's just get right into it. At the same time, at the place first was visited with the wormhole to the human world. After not finding Cotonnet, all the regulars except Misyr got back together once again.
くっそ広いくせに敵の一匹もいねえ。これじゃあいつの居場所を吐かせることもできねえじゃねえか。
上に向かったミシェルが彼女を発見できているというが。
どうしたよ箱入り。お前なんかさっきから様子がおかしくねえか。
いえ、先ほどから城の内外問わず聞こえる妙な音が気にかかりまして、この音は私の記憶違いでなければ天崎島の
See, it's like hinting that Misyr's a fucking skeleton dude. I don't know. Then from the distance, from the direction that Misyr headed to the upper levels, thunderous sounds of a battle echo out. After this continues, shaking the whole castle. How can they tell it's Misyr? It doesn't even sound like him. An intense scream, enough to make anyone hearing it feel the pain, rings out. That voice just now, before the three open their mouths to say. The ground shakes so violently, even they have difficulty remaining standing. With that shaking, a shockwave sent out by that scream. Connus's instinct as a knight clearly tells him it's a warning, to protect his allies from a coming threat. Without waiting for an answer, Connus grabs Ignis and Eel by the arm and forces them to run at full speed. Then all of them together slip into the nearby wormhole. Wait, so they left Cotonnet there? Cotonnet's just alone with this... Oh, shit. It's come. It's arrived. Its arm is reaching. The beginning of our end. Of all worlds. Is Misyr like world ender material? Like, you know how Ignis's root, he was like this big wolf bitch or whatever, and that was supposed to be like the horror of Bestia. If Misyr's an even bigger threat, that's okay. After Misyr's scream and intense shaking, when the tremors have passed, I fearfully open my eyes, and what jumps out is... Oh, shit! That was a jump scare. Nothing but a wasteland. What? In a single moment, I had moved to a different place. That's what I thought at first, but... I'm shocked he's still alive. I'm shocked she's still alive. A dumbfounded Asmodeus beside me tells me what my thought was wrong. Or that my thought was wrong. In other words, in that moment, our surroundings, including the castle, have been reduced to this wasteland. That's the most likely situation. Taking a closer look at my feet, the marble of the castle, or something close to it, remains in a circle. It's as though that sudden, mysterious calamity had spared us. But this scenery, it's similar to that world with that mysterious man. I look around, but there's no sight of him. However, in his place, beyond the raging storm of ash, simply existing here, the something that even ate away the world. Oh, God. It was present. Running through skin like hardened darkness, bulging veins and bone-like muscles. Oh no, with a sinister face and twisted horns. Something like remains of demon wings with only bones left sway in the wind. Please, don't tell me that's Misyr. Oh my god. It's gotta be, because look at it. Well, this is first of all a picture get, but second of all, look at the fucking, it's like his like earrings. Like, I think he has those symbols on his clothing. Oh god, Misyr. That entire body, whether human or non-human, is a mass of overwhelming power that strikes fear into all. Standing next to me, Asmodeus steps forward. Shielding me, he faces the figure that suddenly appeared. Now he's shielding you, okay. What the fuck is going on? It's like... Ew. Well, I'm sorry. If this is Misyr, I'm sorry, Misyr. But, like, it's, like, sinewy. Like, it's, like, you know, like, those biology mannequins where, like, you can see all the muscles and stuff like that. That's what it reminds me of. But with a creepy face at the top and this weird wings situation.
この魔界を害した貴様が万死に値するということだけだ。
Asmodeus, I think he's gone beyond harming the demon world. I don't even know if the demon world exists anymore. Like, oh jeez. The moment Asmodeus kicks the ground, it pulsates. Much like a volcanic explosion, dark flame surges towards the strange figure. However, even seeing that hellfire, that strange figure doesn't move. If you ask why, just before the flame hits him. Huh? It all turns to ash and crumbles away. The moment he recognizes this sight, Asmodeus' expression changes.
動くな、我が花嫁よ。ここは一旦撤退する。
Wait! You say retreat? I don't want to go with...
もはやこの状況では敵も味方も嫁も婿も関係ない。あの異形の恐ろしさ、お前も目の当たりにしただろう。あの妙な配下の力をお前に向けられては防ぎようが。
Wee wee, this is your Puffalada trigger warning. Well, sort of. I'm just gonna warn you guys ahead of time. If you were able to miss all of the memes and stuff like that when Avengers Endgame came out, then props to you. I'm not gonna let this be the spoiler for you. So just skip everything if you don't want spoilers for Avengers Endgame. But if you were triggered by Thanos and what he does to people, like the whole dissipating into thin air kind of thing, then please skip to the time shown on the screen. I'm only laughing because it's so fucking ridiculous how similar it is to Thanos, and I just want to cry. But you don't have to worry because there's no blood or anything like that. It's really, there's a little bit of suffering because you're disappearing, you know, but other than that, it's fine. So if you're able to watch it, please do. If you're not comfortable with watching people suffer or disappear, which is very disturbing, then please feel free to skip. What the fuck is going on? I'm crying. I don't even know. I don't know how to react because it's like so fucking ridiculous. Whatever. I'm sorry. I'm ranting. Anyways, let's continue. Faster than Asmodeus can finish speaking. Along with the dry wind blowing past, his right arm is holding me. Scatters away. What? Before my eyes, it turned to ash. They took his arm? With an invisible force, he's blown away like chaff. What's chaff? I don't know. I'll put the description up here. Before I know it, part of his leg also crumbles away. Then he loses consciousness. Holy shit, this is literally Thanos. Thanos is in the game. The strange figure is staring at me. During this time, the few remnants of the castle surround me. As though submitting to him, they turn into ash and disappear. If I had to describe the sight, it was utter ruination. The end of the world. That is what is spreading around me. I keep still, and the young man only continues to stare at me. Young man? Huh? Why am I calling him that? Right as I begin to doubt myself, the area of the strange figure's ruination approaches at the same time. He shouldn't have a facial expression. Yet still, his strained breathing and the color deep in his eyes.
君の心配は嬉しい。それができたらどんなにいいことかって思う。でも俺は君に嘘をついてるから。
Overlaps with that voice and figure. Misyr? You're Misyr, aren't you? At my question, the strange figure.
そこは気づかないで欲しかったかな。
He answers me. I knew it! Misyr! Despite changing to an unknown form, I instinctively try to approach Misyr. With his desperate voice, I restrain myself.
俺に近づいちゃダメだ。君を殺したくない。
What do you mean?
見ての通りだよ。これが俺の本当の姿で本当の力なんだ。
What the fuck are you, Misyr? I still don't understand. Like, are you just death? Like, just death incarnate? Magic, and a magic power in the end, were only extra to him. Misyr explains with a hoarse voice.
今でこそなんとか力を抑えているけれど、人も物も世界すらもこの姿の俺に近づくものは全てが灰に変える。それが俺の力なんだ。だから君もこれ以上俺に近づけば。
I'll turn to ash, like Asmodeus's arm in the vanished castle.
俺の力はオールには影響しないはずだから、まだどこかに残ってるはず。だから君はそのまま人間界に戻って。
What about you, Misyr? When I try to stop him, rejecting me, Misyr creates distance.
自分の世界に戻るよ。この力を抑えるには時間がかかるから。
After saying only this, Misyr takes flight and throws himself through the fissure that young man came through. I'm left stunned, unable to turn away until the very end. All that remained, swaying in the wind, was nothing but a wasteland of ash. And Asmodeus's body, no? Like, I'm pretty sure he's still alive, but just... Oh, Misyr, no. What the fuck? Café Enchanté loves these tropes of making them into complete horrific monsters. Like, what is happening? Oh no, we're from Mysyr's. Oh god, I'm gonna cry. Ugh. Strangely shaped arms, strangely shaped legs, a strangely shaped body. I slowly set foot into the fissure that formed in space, as though torn open. Just like traveling through the gate, moving between worlds feels like floating. I lower my foot with a tinge of unease, not knowing if there really will be ground below. Then, the sensation of dry ash. Beyond the fissure in space that opened for some reason during my rampage, stretching far and wide is scenery that I'm so used to seeing, I'm tired of it. I look at my ominous palms and mutter in self-deprecation. What an ugly form. Despite being used to it, I think this is every time I see myself. No matter how accustomed she is to the existence of non-humans, this strangely shaped form, and seeing the power of ruination I spread, of course she would think nothing of it. Exposed to the rough air, I slowly begin to walk. If this air in the demon world I came from is like a gloomy and stagnant swamp, the air in this world is like an arid desert that exists to torment people. It's as though even the sad feeling I have will dry up and scatter away.
この嘘がバレるなんて思ってなかった。思いたくなかった。俺はコーヒーが大好きな魔王様で、時々物騒なことを言いながら、常連のみんなとあの店で食べて、彼女が働くのを見守りながら、入れてもらったコーヒーを味わう。それだけでよかったのに、俺にはそれすらもできないのか。
Spreading before my eyes are nothing but countless little hills where ash has piled up a bit more. In this world, over the span of tens of thousands of years, the countless people I cared for, the countless graveyards of sentiment. Thousands upon thousands, far too many to count, these depressing grave markers of ash.
ただいま、みんな。
That's right. In the end, this is the only place I belong. No matter what masks I wear, no matter what falsehoods I use to deceive, lies are always found out eventually. Misyr. Oh, shoot. That means that he's literally been alive for like thousands of years, and all of these people that he's like considered friends or family, he's had to like bury. Or like he accidentally killed and made into ash, and that's like so fucked. Oh my god. After the incident where I was carried off to the demon world by the demon king called Asmodeus, having taken refuge in the wormhole just before the demon world was reduced to waste, Thanos and everyone came back to find me. Me and a captured Asmodeus were brought back to the human world. There to greet us in our confusion were Rendo and his GPM subordinates. At the time, my head was too full. I don't even remember how I explained it all to Rendo, Thanos, and everyone else. For the time being, after handing over Asmodeus and arresting him under kidnapping charges, we all stayed at an inn for the night. The next morning, at GPM headquarters,
「結論から言わせてもらうよ。やっぱり魔界アスモディアと魔王ミシェルに接点は存在しない。
The words Rendo bluntly said rang especially loud in the morning silence.
その話間違いねえんだな。
残念ながら裏付けも取れているよ。
拘束したアスモデウスと生き残っていたらしい部下の魔族を昨べのうちに尋問したんだけど、
何度も言わせるな人間ども。
He has his arm back, I think?
アスモディアに君臨する魔王はこの魔王アスモデウスただ一人。ミシェルなど聞いたこともない。というか、まずはこの拘束を外せ。俺様は花嫁に会いに行くのだ。
Put him back in jail, it's fine.
とまあそんな感じでさ。
According to Rindo, Asmodeus had great luck in escaping the worst trouble. To prepare the ceremony with me, he had gathered all the demons in the planned venue out in the countryside. That ashen power of Misyr seemed to have stopped after destroying only half of the demon world. The place the demons had gathered happened to be in the remaining half. Thus, his subordinates and other demons avoid succumbing to that destructive power. They all managed to survive. By the way, the arm and leg Asmodeus himself lost were reformed with magic power. I like how they had to add that in. There were no deaths in that incident. In that sense, I think from my heart that it's a relief. But in the end...
偽の魔王はミシェルの方で、彼、アスモデウスこそが本物だったってわけだね。
それどころかミシェルは魔族ですらない可能性。いえ、正体が知れぬ存在に。
Misyr himself even admitted that Asmodeus is the real Demon King. Yeah, they have to update his dictionary here. That's why I can't even object to what Yul said when reconfirming the facts. But first, Then, exactly what world is Misyr from? I want to know that.
なの、本人の口から聞くしかねえだろ。それが一番手っ取り早い。
There, Ignis cuts off in an awkward way. I'm about to ask what's wrong, but I understand the meaning of that silence. I see. Who knows if we can even see Misyr?
ミシェルが今後店に来るならその時に聞けばいい。だが彼が本当の姿や力のことをあなたに知られたことを気にしてアンシャンテに二度と来なくなったとしたら。
ああ、ここに彼と同じ世界の出身者がいない以上、彼のいる場所にゲートはつなげない。そうなれば当然ミシェル・アレックスという彼に近づくための術は一切なくなってしまうだろうね。
Why would you say that, Rindo? That's terrible. You can't say that. I never even imagined that possibility, since he had been coming to Enchanté every day until now. If the demon world in this position he spoke of was all a ruse, we'd never had a single connection to him or his world, right from the beginning.
Ah, 追い打ちをかけるようで、ちょっと申し訳ないのだけどね。
Oh no. What? Mikado meekly raises a hand.
ミシェル君が異形になった時刻に魔界だけではなく人間界全体にも同時に激しい地震が発生したんだよ。
I don't know if I told you guys this. I may have mentioned it once before, but I actually survived an earthquake at one point back in 2008. If you guys look it up, it's the Sichuan earthquake. I was in China at the time. I was about, I think, 400 or so miles out from Sichuan, and it, like, I cannot describe to you how scary it was once I knew what was going on. So I was in middle school, and like my parents had sent me over there just for a year of like studying abroad, and I was going to school, and I remember this girl, like, this is totally off topic, by the way, so I'm going to put up a time that you can skip to if you don't want to hear this story, but basically, I remember one of the girls in my class, because this is, like, a Chinese classroom, so there's, like, a class of, like, 50 or so kids, 50 plus, and one of the girls in my class started looking up at the ceiling, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is she looking up there? And everyone started noticing, and this was during, I think, politics class or something like that. And then the teacher's like, what are you looking at? And she's like staring at it. I thought a bird had flown in or something, but no, and then all of a sudden she just started screaming. And I'm like, whoa, like what? And everybody started screaming, and they all started running for the door. And I'm all the way in the very back with my friend, and I mean, I had a couple of friends there, but one of my friends was the one I was living with at the time, and she just grabbed me, and she was just pulling me, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, and everyone's screaming. She's trying to tell me what it is, and the word in Chinese is called di zhen, but I didn't know what that was, because you never really use that word in normal vocabulary. Like, if you're not talking about earthquakes every day, then it's not something I would have known. But I remember everybody, like, there were so many kids at that school, and the buildings in China where I was, they're not very well made, unfortunately. It's just like the class and everything like that. So, I remember the teachers spotting me because I was the only kid that wasn't from China there, and they're like, we need to get her out right now because this could be like a political issue and stuff like that. They told me that afterwards. I did not hear them say that when the panic was happening, but my science teacher grabbed me and threw me down the stairs, and I was like, what is going on? And I remember feeling super nauseous, which is another fun fact. I get really motion sick, like depending on what game it is and stuff like that. That's why I prefer visual novels, but I can't even play like first point of view games, first person games. There we go. But when we got out, all of the kids were lined up, and the teachers were like having us stand really like pretty much in the middle of the courtyard. Instead, it's think like kind of like a black top, but there's like all these old buildings next to us, so they wanted us to be as close to the middle as possible, just in case one of the buildings collapsed. And I have no idea that this is what was being discussed. I was just chasing my friend who was like, we need to go. And we all are standing in lines based off of class. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And she's like, do you know when the world goes like this? And she grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me. And I was like, an earthquake? And she's like, yep, we're living through an earthquake. And I'm like, are you serious? And so, like, literally, what am I supposed to do? I'm like 14. And I remember at the time, I'm like, this is why I'm feeling so sick right now. Because I literally was so nauseous. I thought it was just like the tension and all the screaming and the fear and stuff. But no, it was definitely because I was feeling super motion sick. And I remember, like, our flagpole, which is just a normal flagpole, was literally bending in the wind like one of those fucking silly balloon men that you see outside of car dealerships and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I might die. Like, and the building, our school building, started to crack. It ended up having a couple of cracks along the side. And we ended up having an early release after like the main part of the earthquake ended. And I remember walking home and seeing like all these people coming out of the buildings and like only a towel. There's like, that's the worst situation when you're like in the shower and a horrible thing happens. Like you're like running outside in a towel. Like, what are you supposed to do? You can't really get dressed during a moment, which could be like, I don't know, a couple seconds, or it makes a difference between like life and death. But I remember everybody being out in the streets. People were like crying. People were like looking for their family members and stuff like that. And we had to walk home because all the buses were shut down because of like obviously you don't want to be driving if something happens. So, because then you're just killing off the whole bus of people. But we ended up getting home, like, we all live in apartments, because there's not really, like, houses or something like that. Well, it depends on where you are, but we came back to our apartment complex, and I remember having to sleep outside that night because of the aftershocks and stuff. And the next day, we didn't have school, but I heard from my friend's grandmother that 3 kids had actually passed away due to being trampled to death. This is the most deep story. I'm so sorry, but like, I don't know. It's so crazy to me how, like, a lot of people are like, oh, like, earthquakes, like, yeah, it's, like, really bad, but you don't recognize how bad it is until you're, like, in that moment and you're going through the shit and you're like, holy fuck, the world is scary as shit, like, I might die here. I don't think that I would ever, like, I don't know, I was really lucky to get out the way that I did, I think. I mean, I know that China had, like, black and white websites for like a couple of weeks just in memorial because the Sichuan earthquake killed so many people, like, beyond my wildest imagination, especially at 14. And, like, my friends and family couldn't even contact me because, like, everything was down, like, all the power lines were down, everything was down. So that was my scary experience. Sorry to disturb you all. Anyways, back to the game now that I've ranted for, like, frickin' 7 minutes. Anyway. The entire human world? Really? Could that be... like when the fissure opened up in front of Enchanté? Like the shaking of the world itself?
幸い魔界みたいな大災害は起きなかったけど、あれからどうにもホールの発生頻度も増えていてね。タイミング的にも無関係とは思えないから、しばらくは不測の事態にも備えないと。
I'm sorry for saying it in a way suspecting Misyr. Subduing his usual eccentricity, Mikado apologizes to me, and I couldn't complain. We all quietly leave the GPM. Getting into the car procured for us by Rindo, I absent-mindedly stare out at the city road. It still had no sense of reality. Almost everything he said was painted over with falsehoods. His liking coffee, his being the strongest demon king for the demon world who likes teasing people, the form of that person who I looked at and talked with like normal until now. I don't think that he lied about liking coffee. I feel like he did like it. Like, I think he still does. It now seems far away and uncertain. After getting home, maybe Misyr will have come back with that usual nonchalant look on his face. Such positive thinking by us was all in vain. As expected, no sight of Misyr at the shop. After returning to Enchanté, I didn't feel like doing anything at all, and when the evening came, I went right to sleep. Then, the next morning, what woke me up was what seemed like a small shaking on my shoulder. Oh god. Another earthquake? Kororo also woke up in surprise, snuggling up against me and trembling. I hold Kororo, protecting it, and wait for the shaking to settle. A few minutes later, the shaking stopped. Literally all of her shit that's on the fucking shelving and stuff like that, all of that's going on the floor. Like, there's no freaking way. That shook the whole screen, like... The scale was small, but it's after that incident happened. According to Mikado, the earthquakes and wormholes occurring in various places aren't unrelated. I can't help but put myself on guard. Wormholes, huh? The shape is strange, so fissures in space. We were calling them something like that, but the fissure that opened in the demon world was also just another kind of wormhole. So beyond them, there should be another world. I wonder what world Misyr returned to through there. It's been one night since then, but I wonder if he'll come to the shop today. I'm also curious if anything broke during that earthquake just now. To be ready to make coffee whenever Misyr comes back. Yeah, I'll run the shop like normal today. To make preparations, I change my clothes and head downstairs. Huh? There, alone, sitting in the chair closest to the room with the gate, I find Eel. Eel? What's wrong? When I call to him, Eel slowly raises his head.
ここでミシェルの来店を待っていました。
No, this is gonna fuck me up, dude. Oh no. Cause like in Eel's route, Misyr treats him like family. So that's like, oh, that's so sad. Oh my god.
来たら真っ先にあなたへ知らせようと思いまして。
Oh. He speaks softly to me, and in front of him is a game console with an anime game set inside. But he isn't playing it. He just sits there with it on the table. How long could he have been waiting here for Misyr to come? Eel, it's still early in the morning. I think Misyr usually comes a while later. So, how about I bring something to drink out, and we can drink together while waiting? Eel nods in silence, and still seems somewhat sad. Afterwards, I had an espresso. Eel drank a coffee float, while the two of us quietly waiting to hear the sound of the gate. However, even long after the time he usually comes to visit, there was no cheerful doorbell sound announcing the Demon King's visit. The more time passes, the gloomier me and Eel's expressions become. Eel, that Otome game, you're not going to play? I ask a question to change the mood, but Eel shakes his head.
これはプレイするためではなく、ミシェルに見せるために持ってきたのです。
Misyr?
ちょうど今朝、記憶、夢に見て思い出しまして。この乙女ゲームは初めて出会った頃にミシェルが私に買ってくれた作品のリメイクなのです。
Oh god, I'm in so much pain.
当時のことははっきり覚えていませんが、彼が来たらこれを見せて何か思い出話でもできないかと。
I see. Eel, you must get along especially well with Misyr. I often see you two together.
ええ、初めて会った時からなんだか放っておけないと何かと気を使ってもらいました。
I kind of get it. He feels kind of like your older brother. He's usually carefree about everything, but he seems to like to care for people, or talk to them with no discrimination.
本当に分け隔てなくでしょうか。
Huh? When Eel spills these words, my hand freezes as I was about to drink my espresso.
あ、いえ、悪い意味ではなく、私自身も適切な表現を探すことができないのですが、ミシェルがあなただけに送る微笑みは、私が有する知識と記録の中で最も優しく美しいものだと、そう認識しています。
I can't take it. We're gonna stop here. I cannot. Oh my god. I can already feel myself being so depressed and so miserable. This is so sad. I did not expect this. I thought he was gonna be like a big skeleton. But instead, he's kind of the opposite. He's just big muscles, which is pretty gross. But, I mean, I don't know. I just feel so bad. It sucks because it's like, it hurts the most when it comes from Eel, because I just see Eel as like waiting for him like a puppy, waiting for someone to come home. Just like, oh, I don't know. Well, next episode, maybe Misyr will come back or maybe not. I don't know. It's Misyr's route. He's got to come back, right? Like, ah.